We had a democracy where voters chose the governments, the representatives and the governments. Today, we are in a completely different phase of our democracy where the government, the ruling party, they are choosing the voters, attempting to delete voters on the basis of God knows it could be religion, it could be region, or it could be the social class or economic class or whatever. They're unlikely to vote for me, kind of a scale. On that basis, somebody starts deleting the voters, which means denial of the right to vote to certain sections. That's
Dhaka, all the deletions are applied for by the BJP and brazenly by the
yes,
BJP MLA's office.
yeah.
Shouldn't the BJP leadership, both state and central, shouldn't they tell us, answer why they thought 78,000, 80,000 voters deserve to be deleted, and most of them Muslims?
BJP election morcha is nothing but the Election Commission of India. That's what he said. Which means that the credibility of the Election Commission is so low now that people who have nothing to do with political parties or they are not partisan, they feel that the Election Commission is acting like an election morcha of the BJP. Now the ruling party and the Election Commission probably have become so brazen that you directly apply royally. I mean, who is going to bother about this? Who is going to do it anyway? Who is going to find out? Who is going to talk about it? Who is going to object to this? Ultimately, it is the citizens like you and me. Where are we in this? Do we have to outsource the protection, the duty to protect our democracy to the political parties? And if they do it, we're okay. If they don't do it, we suffer.
Hello and welcome to this discussion on the wire on the issue of vote chori. Now, vote chori or the manipulation of the voters list on a massive scale, as recent evidence from several states has shown, it has reached proportions where we just cannot talk about it casually anymore. This issue has to be addressed squarely because it has to do with it has to do with the fundamentals of our democracy, the right to vote, the only thing that nearly 80%, 90% of the poor have in their hands, the power to change government. So where are we on this issue? Only 2 days ago, another big investigation by the Reporters Collective showed that in a constituency in Bihar, Dhaka, 78,000 applications for vote deletions came formally from the BJP. And the reporters went and spoke to the BJP MLA, and the BJP MLA admitted that, yes, 78,000 applications for vote deletion, mostly, almost entirely Muslims, were made in a constituency called Dhaka, which has barely 2 lakh, little over 2 lakh votes. So imagine the scale. Nearly deletion applications for 78,000 out of 2 lakh plus votes, nearly 40%, 35 to 40% of the votes are formally being applied to be deleted, and mostly of Muslims. Now, how do you read this? And mind you, this comes on top of what happened in Mahadevapura, which was, of course, exposed by Rahul Gandhi through proper documentation, and subsequently the case of Aland, where a single booth had vote deletion applications, attempted vote deletion applications for over 6,000 voters. Now, so we are looking at vote manipulation on an industrial scale. So we have with us today Parkala Prabhakar, a political economist who has been working on this very subject, researching, writing, speaking across India on this very subject for some years now, much before the 2024 elections. And He's been sounding a warning for a long time. Welcome to our show, to this discussion, Prabhakar, and please tell us, after this Bihar episode which has come to light from Reporters Collective investigation, uh, the industrial scale on which voters list is either sought to be manipulated. This is all what we have discovered so far. I don't know the extent of manipulation that we have missed and have not discovered, whether in the 2024 elections, 2019 elections, or in the various assembly elections in the intervening period. So how should we look at it now? I mean, is this is not incremental, Prabhakar? How do you deal with this level of contamination of voters list?
Venu, thank you very much for inviting me onto your program once again. Um, you know, the particular phrase that you used, voter manipulation on an industrial scale, I think that captures the essence of it. It's no more incremental. And, it is 360 degrees, Venu. It is like, for instance, what is the basic principle of our electoral democracy anywhere in the world is that as a voter, I have a right to vote. Nobody should prevent me from going to the polling booth and casting my vote. One. Secondly, the vote that I cast should be recorded as cast.
Yeah.
The third one is it should be counted as recorded. These are three cardinal principles of any electoral democracy. Now, you see, by attempting to delete voters on the basis of God knows, it could be religion, it could be region, or it could be the social class or economic class or whatever, they're unlikely to vote for me, kind of a scale. On that basis, somebody starts deleting the voters, which means denial of the right to vote to certain sections. That's one. The second thing is that somebody comes to the polling booth and casts his or her vote. We are not very sure whether it is being recorded as cast.
Yeah.
Because the entire thing is structured in such a way that you can't even challenge and say, look, let us have the counting of VVPAT. And that's very confined. It makes no sense at all. For
Yeah.
one assembly constituency, a very small percentage, there's a sample. That makes no sense at all. This is the second one. The third one is the okay, you cast the vote. We do not know whether it is recorded or not properly as cast. Then the final thing is we are also not very sure whether it is counted as recorded.
Yeah.
Because you see, we have had problems like, for instance, the provisional figure and the final figure.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
provisional figure in 2024 elections, we have had a discussion about this. I'll be very brief on that. 2024 elections, the difference between the provisional figure and the final figure is huge. Historically, it's never been 0.5%, maximum 1%. But here you have cases of 20%, 30%, 12%, 15%.
Yeah.
Discrepancy between these two, and the election commission doesn't explain
Yeah.
what is really accounted. I mean, how do you account for this kind of a discrepancy? We do not know yet.
Yeah.
And this is one. Then you see, whatever is cast, ADR report tells us that in about 176 constituencies, less votes were counted, and the rest of the constituencies, more votes are counted.
Yeah.
You see, how many do you recover from the EVM? You should at least count them. And you have election commission taking its own sweet time of announcing the final figure of the polling. For
Yeah.
instance, the provisional figure of say phase one of 2024 elections was announced on the day of polling, evening of the polling, And the
End of the day, you're saying, yeah.
end of the day, and the final figure, Venu, comes after 11 days.
Okay. This was in which case was it? In which
No,
state?
no, no, the entire first phase.
Acha,
The
first, yeah.
first phase of polling in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, the provisional figures are announced, and after 11 days, after 11 full days, you have the final figure. So
Yeah.
there is a huge room for suspicion there.
Yeah.
And then you have voter deletions. Mahadevpura is one, and Aland is another one. Aland is deletion. Mahadevpura is the.
Mahadevpura was more addition, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in one small place you have 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, and when you go there, there's nobody there. It's even a business establishment. It's not even a residence. That kind of a thing. And you have now Dhaka in Bihar. You have astonishing figure of nearly 80,000 voters, all belonging to one particular minority community,
Yeah.
being deleted. And another thing I want to bring it to your notice, and people have neglected this, was in 2019 itself, in the Kanyakumari Lok Sabha constituency. The coastal belt has about 180,000 votes, of which 30,000 votes were deleted. Deleted in such a way that the voters list that was given to the political parties and the agents contained those names, but the voters list that it was held by the polling officers, the presiding officer or other polling officers, it doesn't have. So somebody goes with a slip given by the political party, they go there and it's not there, and they're all denied, and they all gathered outside the returning officer. The CEO was approached, and CEO informally conceded, not 30,000 but about 10 to 12,000 votes were deleted, and then he wanted some kind of a representation so that an investigation can be ordered. But the representation was given. But what happened was that the opposition candidate in that particular constituency won the election. So therefore, once you win the election, you became relaxed. So the investigation was not pressed.
Yeah.
No investigation was carried out, which means that it has been in the works for quite some time. These massive deletions, additions, and in Maharashtra there were proposals. I mean, in the sense there were people have expressed their concern about the current Maharashtra Chief Minister's own constituency, where about 33,000 voters were deleted and about 3,000 odd were added.
Yeah.
So this has become a practice. So which means delete the voters, add fake voters, and deletion and additions are done by very for instance, look at Aland. I mean, they're done by some vague numbers, and election commission refuses to give you the IP addresses, or the port destination port addresses, etc. That there is a obfuscation there.
Yeah, these are online deletion applications.
Online
right?
deletions.
Yeah.
And then in SIR, you have the Dhaka constituency in Bihar.
But
So it is.
Dhaka is, Prabhakar, let me come in here.
Yeah.
The difference between Aland and Dhaka is, Dhaka, all the deletions are applied for by the BJP and brazenly, by the
Yes.
BJP MLA's office.
Yes,
And
yes.
we need to ask, on what basis did the BJP, shouldn't the BJP leadership, both state and central, shouldn't they tell us, answer why they thought 78,000, 80,000 voters deserve to be deleted, and most of them Muslims? I mean, what are the logic? One doesn't know, and the election commission is also not asking this question.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not. In fact, election commission is completely incommunicado. You can't talk to election commission. Election commission doesn't talk to you. And in fact, several activists, including, for instance, Mr. Venkatesh Naik, who is an ATIA activist and, of course, the human rights activist, he made an application to the Election Commission of India asking for the names and contact numbers of all the returning officers of 2024 Lok Sabha elections. You know what the election commission had said? Election commission had said that it did not have the names and contact numbers of the returning officers. The question is, who conducted these elections?
Yeah.
So
True.
this leads one to ask very critical questions about our integrity of our electoral democracy, and with that kind of a flawed electoral voting list, and then the way it is excluded, the way polls are conducted, the way the data is given out by the election commission. Look at the entire gamut of things
Yeah. The
on the
yeah.
with that kind of a flawed process, questionable integrity of this process. The Lok Sabha, which is now in place, does it have a sanctity? And the government, which is a creature of that Lok Sabha, does that have legitimacy? Or does that have sanctity? And the election commission, which has been a party to this kind of an entire industrial scale of deletions and additions and manipulation, discrepancy between provisional and final figure. And you see one more thing, Venu, I don't know how do you square this. You don't allow this even in a school elections. You have an SPL elections. Even that, I'll tell you what that is. See, on the 1st of June, you concluded the last phase of polling for Lok Sabha elections 2020. And on the 4th of June, you have the results announced. But on the 6th of June, the Election Commission gives out the final figures of that phase. Now, which means, what does it mean? It means that, you announce the results before you give how many voters have actually exercised their franchise.
Yeah. True.
Is that possible to even
This has.
conceive?
I don't think, Prabhakar, this has ever happened before.
Nowhere can it happen. That's why I'm saying even a school pupils leader election also cannot be conducted this way,
Yeah. Yeah. True.
isn't
So
it?
so yeah. So Prabhakar, I'm coming back to the Bihar situation, because we have Bihar elections coming up in November. This whole Bihar exercise, the BJP MLA's office applying for deletion of nearly 80,000 votes, and mostly Muslims, all happens in some ways. It coincides with it happens around, I think, June or thereabouts, and it happens just on the eve of the big SIR exercise that the CEC unleashes on Bihar, which after that we all know what happens after that. The whole thing goes to the Supreme Court. The Election Commission, Supreme Court, kind of tells the Election Commission to do A, B, C, D. And
At least, first of all, to part with the list of names of people who have been deleted.
exactly. So and all this Election Commission resisting everything that the Supreme Court was hinting or wanting the Election Commission to, including Aadhaar card, use of Aadhaar card to for people to register themselves after the deletion of 65 lakh votes. Now the how do you read this? The party on the one hand, BJP, acting parallelly, applying for deletions of voters on such a large scale, and the Election Commission, of course, doing what it was doing. Do you see some sort of coordination between the party and the Election Commission in
You
some
see,
terms of timing?
Venu, I mean, a friend of mine had said it in a lighter vein, probably, but I mean, there's something very serious message in what he said. I'll tell you what he said. He said, he must have seen me talking here and there and writing here and there. He said, Parkala, you're talking about election commission, not answering election commission in cahoots with the government and all that. I hear all this. What do you expect now? The situation is like this. He said. I'm quoting him. He said, look, BJP has different morchas. BJP has a Yuva Morcha to take care of the youth. BJP has Mahila Morcha to take care of the Mahilas, women. BJP has Kisan Morcha to take care of their issues of Kisan and farmers. They have Minority Morcha to address the issues of minorities. They also have a election morcha. BJP election morcha is nothing but the Election Commission of India. That's what he said. Which means that the credibility of the Election Commission is so low now that people who have nothing to do with political parties, or they're not partisan, they feel that the Election Commission is acting like an election morcha of the BJP. One. The second thing is, that is corroborated by the need. Lokniti CSD's study of the credibility of the Election Commission.
Yeah.
This is the second thing. Achha. Now, coming back to the point that you've raised, Venu, you see, they've been doing, vote injection, deletion. Look at the Aland. Look, Aland deletions were done digitally from far away, from other states, some numbers. They were at least,
attempt to delete. They were all caught.
Attempt to delete. And, tiptoeing around, how to do, what to do, from other number, some other number, all that kind of a thing. Okay. Now, because that was not called out, that was called out recently. But, when that was not called out properly, and Mahadevpura was not found out, and before that, Kanyakumari was not pursued. Now the ruling party and the Election Commission probably have become so brazen that you directly apply royally. I mean, who is going to bother about this? Who is going to do it anyway? Who is going to find out? Who is going to talk about it? Who is going to object to this? So that is the brazenness that we see today. Now, that is why, I've been saying, said it at many
How
places.
do we deal with this brazenness? Yeah.
It's complete brazenness, isn't it? I don't care. We don't care, kind of a thing. One. That is the reason why I've been saying that, look, if you allow this to go on like this, 2024, Venu, there was an injection of about 5 crore votes. Yeah. And that resulted in a change of hands of 79 constituencies across 15 states.
This is as per the study. This is as per
the Vote for Democracy study. Vote for Democracy, VFD study. Now, you see, if that were not to happen, if 79 seats were not to change hands in 2024 because of all these all-round manipulation, the present NDA, the ruling NDA, from 293, which now it has, from 293, it would have been 214. And the non-NDA, that is the India bloc, which is now 234, could have been 313. So that was the kind of change that this kind of a manipulation has happened. Now, Kanyakumari, we didn't call out. Aland came to light much later. So when these things were not called out, Dhaka happens brazenly. Now, my apprehension, Venu, is that, if you leave this, 5 crore votes were manipulated in 2024. That could be 10 crore votes in 2029. It could be 20 crore votes after that.
Even the scale could go up further.
As you said, industrial scale. Yeah. It is probably you will call it post-industrial scale.
Yeah.
That is the kind of massive manipulation that we are witnessing today.
So Prabhakar, this is the point which I have been trying to emphasize and trying to think about. Often I've put this before you also. The scale, the industrial scale that we are talking about, along that one booth where 6,000 plus votes was big number.
Not one booth.
And Mahadevpura was over 1 lakh votes in an assembly constituency, which would have constituted about 15 to 20% as per Yogendra Yadav's calculation. 15-20% of the constituency. And this, the latest one, the Bihar, Dhaka, 80,000 votes out of some 2,10,000, 15,000. Again, close to 40%. Now, this shows, this is what we know, as you yourself said. What we do not know is something we do not know, because the BJP, the interesting thing, Prabhakar, is that the BJP itself, uh, when the when Mahadevapura was exposed by Rahul Gandhi, Anurag Thakur, member of parliament uh, of, of, of the BJP, he came up with his own, because he had some access to the electoral list of Amethi and probably Wayanad, and he himself came up with his findings of big voter manipulation, additions, etc., fake votes, etc., in Amethi. So, Rahul Gandhi's response to that was very, very correct. He said, "Okay, please join us in this in cleaning up the voters list.
Exactly.
Please join us in this larger campaign." But after that, the BJP did not say anything. They kept quiet. Neither did Election Commission take any note of the Congress's offer that, okay, let's look at all the constituencies where you think
No,
that
at that
so
point,
so
Venu,
so 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 so, so my so I'm coming to this larger question, Prabhakar. But since this is an issue which involves the people, it's not Congress versus BJP or some other party. And since we now know that industrial scale level manipulations are being attempted, or where we have not discovered may have happened, how do we address this? How do we address a broader cleanup of the voters list in India, so that our democracy can be purified, the system can be purified? I'll just give you one suggestion, Prabhakar, which came from a very interesting suggestion, came from a TDP MP. A TDP MP told me, now TDP wrote a letter to the center and election commission that the Bihar SIR should not exercise, should completely stay away from the citizenship question. Now that was one part, but TDP is also, I'm told, this MP told me, has written to the relevant authorities, election commission, etc., that a system needs to be evolved so that Aadhaar becomes a basis for people who come to the you conduct election in the way that you do at the moment. You have to spend about, as per their calculation, about 7,000-8,000 crore needs to be spent to put biometric machine in the booth, to immediately as a voter comes to check the identity, so that all the fake votes are cleared out, are detected, and he, according to this TDP MP, that is one way of cleaning up, with the use of technology, where as a voter enters, his or her identity via the Aadhaar biometrics can be immediately be clearly be established. And he says that this would require an investment of some 8,000, 10,000 crore, which is nothing, considering that so much money is being spent on so many things to protect our democracy. How do you respond to that?
Venu, we have in our democracy now, we have entered a very interesting phase. So far, even in 77, before that, and after that, till recently, till about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had a democracy where voters chose the governments, the representatives, and the governments. Today, we are in a completely different phase of our democracy, where the government, the ruling party, they are choosing the voters. They are selecting the voters. Now, you are the people who are going to vote.
Yeah.
That is the kind of complete reversal.
And they're using technology to do that. That's the irony of it. Yeah.
High technology. Okay, this is the thing. Having said that, the question is, what do we do now? Venu, first of all, this is not an incremental process that is happening, as you said. It's an industrial scale. So the solution also cannot be an incremental solution. First of all, we have to take a call on what should be the fate of the present election commission of India. my feeling, if you ask me, is that the present ECA should go. One. The second thing is that the Lok Sabha, which is now constituted on the basis of a completely flawed voters list, manipulated voters list. Now, the opposition says that, as you said, one of the ruling party members also had said that,
Yeah.
you know, which means that there is a bipartisan consensus on the manipulated and vitiated electoral list. So the Lok Sabha, which is constituted on the basis of elected on the basis of a vitiated, flawed voters list, should also go.
Yeah.
How does it sustain itself? And the government, which is a creature of that, which presided over the entire operation of this kind of a thing, should also go. And it might sound very extreme, but you see, today I'm telling you, Venu, my feeling is that, very rarely in history you have a juncture when the ideal only becomes the practical. This is that juncture.
Okay.
This is the only practical thing. Otherwise, how do you expect this election commission, the way it is constituted, the way it is functioning, and the government which created that kind of an election commission, which is manipulating that kind of an election commission that way, and you see widespread. And some people are generous to say that probably it is an error. They're inefficient. They've not done it deliberately. But repeatedly, if these things are happening, one tends
And on the
to,
scale that they're happening, yeah.
yeah, and tends to suspect, and strongly suspect. My suspicions are strengthened day by day that this is a deliberate attempt to subvert the country's democracy. Now, if this is happening, and what is the point in such a skewed system where electoral integrity is compromised, no level playing field. The election commission doesn't enforce model code of conduct for the Lok Sabha, and the ruling party and the leaders of the ruling party for their star campaigners. And the phasing of the polling is done in such a way that it is an advantage to the ruling party and their the prime minister's tours and all
Yeah.
that. If that is the case, then how why, and which means that the defeat of the opposition is a foregone conclusion. What is the point of the opposition sitting in that kind of a house in Lok Sabha, and what is the point in opposition contesting elections,
Yeah.
and which they are sure to lose, and by contesting and losing, time and again, legitimizing the fraudulent victory of a particular party?
But how
What
do
is the
you,
point?
yeah, Prabhakar, how do you
I
turn
mean,
the clock back? I mean,
yeah,
I
no,
mean, you have written a piece, article in the Hindu where you have argued that the opposition should boycott elections. Now, even on that issue, should they boycott Bihar, for instance? Having Bihar going through what it is in terms of the voters list, will there be unity among the opposition parties on this issue? And how do you turn the clock back? I mean, do we have a midterm election? If so, will the ruling party and the election commission will agree to a midterm election? First of all, will they agree that there's a large scale contamination of voters list? I mean, how do you resolve all these questions?
yeah, no. What I said is not an easy solution. It's a difficult solution. There are so many things to be discussed and thrashed out and all that. I agree with that. It is not a simple thing. And but one important thing I want to put forward in this particular discussion, Venu, is that will the ruling party allow, will the government, I mean, why will ruling party, why are you waiting for the ruling party's pleasure and consent, and they allowing you to do anything that you want to do? That's one. So forget about that. The other thing is, you see, the elections in our country, in a democracy anyway, is not a game played by the political parties amongst themselves. Ultimately, it is the citizens like you and me. Where are we in this? Do we have to outsource the protection, the duty to protect our democracy to the political parties? And if they do it, we're okay. If they don't do it, we suffer. Is that what is the ultimate of democracy, the essence of democracy? I don't agree with that. I think the civil society, the citizenry, should take initiative in this, and there should be pressure on the political parties. There's one more thing. It might sound quite harsh, Venu. You see, I do not want to trust the defense of democracy to political parties which are essentially undemocratic in their own functioning.
Hmm.
Why will they protect? Why will they? And they have this casino syndrome. You win this, you lose that, you win that, you lose this. So that, in a casino, you enter and you start playing. Your hope of winning a game is eternally kept alive, although you're going to lose. You lose
Yeah.
one, you win another one. You lose two, you win another one. You lose Maharashtra, you win Jharkhand. You win Karnataka and Telangana, but you lose Haryana.
Hmm.
you know this kind of a thing happens, and you might win something else, and Himachal you win, and but Lok Sabha you lose, that kind of thing. So I want the political parties to get out of this casino syndrome.
The opposition parties, you're saying, yeah.
The opposition parties and all the
Because the
political.
ruling party loves this casino system.
Yeah, exactly. What surprises me, Venu, is it is no more a stealth kind of an operation. You see, now you mentioned that BJP itself, as a party, as their functionaries, have made an application for 80,000 deletions. So it's
You,
a brazen thing now. It's
you,
no more. It's no more a remote mobile number from somewhere and operating at 4:30 in the morning. No, it's not. It's an open kulla kind of a thing.
and Prabhakar, that's one. And what you just said, a Freudian slip made by the Delhi chief minister recently,
Yeah.
where she
And
said,
she said,
he said if they manipulated the past, so we are manipulating now. So the EVMs, she's talked about EVMs. Anyway, carry on. Yeah.
so if this is the kind of situation, I think this has to be completely overhauled inside out. There are no halfway houses in this. My fear is this, Venu. Like it happened in Kanyakumari when the opposition candidate won the election, they just relaxed and they didn't bother about they didn't pursue the investigation. Now tomorrow, if for any reason, why any reason? In fact, if there is a clever strategist in the ruling NDA and the BJP, they would let the opposition win the Bihar election. Then what happens?
Yeah, correct.
Then what happens? Then the ruling party would say, look, you made so much of this thing, but you won the election. We are so fair, and it's impartially conducted election. And like it happened in Kanyakumari, all this talk and the entire furor about SIR, vote deletion, and all that, it will die down. And then the SIR, you see, SIR's order is not confined to Bihar. It's for the entire country. And now
Exactly. Correct.
they will do the entire thing for the entire country. Losing Bihar is a small price to pay to completely, do with violence you do ethnic cleansing. With this kind of a voter list, you are doing the political cleansing. So
Correct.
Giving up Bihar is a small price to pay for this political cleansing.
So yeah, basically, so Prabhakar, essentially, the big picture is that you're suggesting that the opposition should get out of this casino syndrome, because ultimately the one who runs a casino never loses in the overall scheme of things. So therefore, the solution has to be a much more. It can't be incremental. It has to be much more comprehensive. Thank you for talking to us, Prabhakar, again on this subject. We'll keep this conversation alive as the Bihar elections are coming and more elections are due next year. And let's see how this debate progresses in regard to the cleanup of our voters list, and in regard to the opposition indeed getting out of this casino syndrome, as you said. Thank you very much.